Hey there, everybody. It's your old buddy Frank here back with you again. It's been a while, huh? We're in October now, and I think it's been a good month or two since I've seen you guys, but I'm here and ready to do a new series for you for the fall. We've tackled a lot of serious subjects over the past year and a half, and I thought I'd do something a little more lighthearted for the next series, which should take us through the end of the year. So rather than talk about all the real serious self-help stuff that we've been doing, although that is quite important, and I'm sure we'll get back to it, I wanted to do something a little, like I said, a little lighter. And this is where I thought I'd start. So throughout my life, a lot's changed. Obviously, I'm 54 years old. A lot's changed over the years. But one of the two of the most consistent things that have been part of my life since I was a small kid have been movies and music, records. And I want to talk a little bit. I wanted to do a series about some of the memories I had about various times in my life where these things came into play. And I wanted to start with the movies today because my history with movies goes back to when I was probably about 4 years old. So I'm going to kind of jump around. This is not in chronologic order, but I want to talk to you about today, share a little bit of the memories I had of my time with my grandfather as it pertains to the movies. Quick little introduction here on that. So, in fall of 1980, my grandmother died, and my grandfather had come to live with us for a while until he could get up and running with his own place back in his hometown. And he lived with us from October of 1980 till really probably the end of the summer of '82. So he was there a while. He lived in our house with me and my mom and dad. Of course, I was an only child. So I spent a lot of time with my granddad. I hadn't, I just, how do I want to put this? I didn't have really too many friends. I had my best friend, of course, Buddy, who was a mainstay throughout my life. But other than that, I really didn't have much of a social life. So, and I thought that was bad at the time, but in retrospect now, I get to share with you some of these great memories I had of my granddad because a lot of people don't get to spend a lot of time with their grandparents, which is a shame, or really get to know them. So when he lived with us in that roughly year and a half period, we had a tradition, him and me, where we'd go to the movies probably just about every weekend. Sometimes twice, sometimes once on Saturday, once on Sunday. And where we would go is we would usually go to the local theater, which was the Delco Plaza UA Theater, where coincidentally 6 years later I ended up working. And there's a lot of history there, which we'll get to. Or we would go out to the other side of town, either to the York Mall Theater or Stony Brook. At one time it was called Stony Brook. It was called Budco. It was called all kinds of things. But we would go and we would see a movie, and then if we stayed on this end of town, we would eat at the Wendy's, which was in the mall parking lot. Ironically enough, one of the few things left standing from my childhood that's still there, although the customer service there is putrid now. Maybe it was then too, but at age 10, I guess I didn't notice. But if we went to the East End, we would eat at the Roy Rogers out there, and that's what we did on weekends, like clockwork. Usually on Saturdays, sometimes on Sundays, sometimes both days. But I just began to think of like the movies that I got to see with my grandfather. I mean, it's a veritable list of classics that were out during that period of time. And I want to share a few with you now. These are just some of the movies he took me to see in that period of time. And this is first run. This isn't on cable or re-release films. The Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, Airplane, Hollywood Nights, Stir Crazy, Flash Gordon, Escape from New York, Popeye. And then even when he moved away, I would stay with him over the summer, and he would take me to the drive-in up there. And up there, I saw Blade Runner, I saw Tron, I saw E.T., I saw Revenge of the Nerds. One of the funniest stories I have is one time me and my best friend Buddy convinced him to take us out and see this movie called Porky's. And my grandfather would never look at the movies ahead of time. He would just ask me what I wanted to see. So he took Buddy and me. We were in seventh grade to see Porky's. And most of you know what that is, I'm sure. My grandfather was not very happy coming out of there. he was pretty pissed off at me for having him take us two seventh graders to see a movie that raunchy. But in retrospect, it was kind of funny. Um, but you know, those when these movies come on cable now, most of them I have, if not all of them, I have on DVD. I always associate them with my grandfather, and that's a really special time for me. I do have one regret. I wanted to go see the Blues Brothers and Caddyshack. My mom would not let him take me to see them, so I had to wait for them on cable. You know, it would be nice if I could say, "Oh yeah, I saw the Blues Brothers in the theater. I saw Caddyshack in the theater," but I didn't. You know, that was. But I remember I begged to see the Blues Brothers. My mother would not. She was immovable. Anyway, so yeah, those are great memories for me looking back. You know, like I mean, a lot of people don't get to spend quality time with their grandparents or really get to know them. And like, um, you know, in addition to the movies, I mean, he used to take me over to the West Manchester Mall all the time, give me a couple of quarters for the arcade, and he'd like to sit and people watch, and I'd walk around the record stores and stuff in the arcade. It was a real special time, and I got to know him. He was a very interesting man. He was not the most affectionate man in the world. He liked to tease me incessantly. I think that's how he thought he'd make a man out of me. Um, you know, that's just the way you know, he liked to, you know, I won't say call me names, but he would tease me and like, he called me Mikey because if you remember the character on TV that didn't want to eat live cereal, you know, oh, give it to Mikey. He won't like it. He hates everything. Well, that was since I was a picky eater growing up, my grandfather decided that was going to be my name, and he never ever called me Frank again. So, not till the day he died. So that was just who he was, kind of a complicated individual. But I'm thankful for the time with him. So hey, hope you enjoyed this. I'll have another memory coming up in a few weeks, and feel free in the comments section to share your own. They don't have to be with grandparents. You know, something involving movies or you know your grandparents or both or whatever. I love comments. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I always share the link on these videos I post on Facebook. I love comments, and tell your friends about this channel. It's good stuff. At least I think it is. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.